Welcome! Today, we're going to look at your website from a completely different angle, not as a person, but through the eyes of the one and only Googlebot. So, you've built this beautiful, functional website. It's packed with great content, but for some reason, it's just not ranking. It's a super frustrating question, right? And the answer? Well, it's almost always buried in this technical gap between what we see and what Google's crawlers actually see. And here's the heart of the problem. On the left, you've got your masterpiece. But on the right? Yeah, that could be all the Googlebot gets. Its whole job is to understand the entire web, but modern websites can throw up some pretty serious roadblocks. Let's take a look at the first big one.
Which brings us to what I like to call the JavaScript rendering trap. You see, a ton of modern websites are built with these really powerful JavaScript frameworks. They make for amazing user experiences, but, you guessed it, they can also create a huge trap for search engines.
Okay, so just imagine the Googlebot visiting your site, ready to index all your great stuff, but when it gets there, the page is empty. The content just isn't there yet. It's all waiting to be loaded and put together by JavaScript. For the bot, this is like showing up to a party where the host hasn't even started setting up. Awkward.
Now this happens a lot with something called a single-page application, or SPA for short. We're talking about sites built with frameworks like React, Vue, or Angular. For us humans, they're super fast and smooth, but by default, they send search engines a nearly empty shell of HTML. And the risks here are, well, they're severe. If Google can't see your content right away, it might just miss it completely. Or even worse, it could index that empty shell, basically telling the world your page has no content. And even if Google eventually figures it out, this whole process can delay indexing by weeks. In the SEO world, that's an eternity.
The source material really doesn't pull any punches on this one. It calls a single-page application without a proper solution in place a classic SEO killer. So the big question is, how do we fix it?
The answer is server-side rendering, or SSR. So instead of sending an empty shell and making the browser or the Googlebot do all the heavy lifting, SSR pre-builds the entire HTML page on the server. So when the bot shows up this time, the party is already in full swing. It gets the complete content-packed page right from the get-go.
So, great. We've given Google the HTML, but, that's just the skeleton. To see the full picture, the bot still needs to dress up the page with all the styling and functionality.
Google's process is kind of like building with Legos. First, it gets the HTML, which are the instructions. Then, it has to go fetch all the other pieces, the CSS files for the colors and layout, and the JavaScript files for all the cool interactive bits. Only after it has all the pieces can it actually execute the code and render the final page, just like you or I would see it.
And this is where things can go sideways again. If you've accidentally blocked Google from getting to these critical CSS or JavaScript files, usually with a little file called robots.txt, it's like hiding some of the Lego pieces. Google can't build the page right. It sees a broken mess, and it starts to lose trust in what it's seeing. Not good. This brings us to a really crucial point, and it's worth saying again. What Google renders is what Google ranks, nothing else. That's why you absolutely have to use tools like Google Search Console to check the rendered HTML and make sure the bot sees the exact same beautiful, complete page that your users do.
All right, so now the Googlebot has access to everything it needs to build the page. But it's impatient, really impatient. If it has to wait too long for those initial instructions, it might just give up and leave. And that brings us to the all-important issue of speed.
This number right here is everything. It's your server response time. Google demands that your server responds to its request in under 500 milliseconds. We're talking less than half a second. Blink and you missed it.
I mean, just look at the difference here. A slow server taking over a second to respond, that's a huge red flag for Google. An acceptable server, on the other hand, responds almost instantly. That initial wait time really sets the tone for the entire experience and for Google's ability to crawl your site.
And let me be perfectly clear about this. Server response time is the absolute foundation of performance. You can have all the fancy optimization tricks in the world, but if the server itself is slow to respond, you're just putting a band-aid on a sinking ship.
Luckily, there are two really powerful ways to speed things up. First is a CDN, a content delivery network. It basically stores copies of your files on servers all over the world, so they're delivered from a location that's physically closer to the user and to Google. Then there's caching, which is even more direct. It just serves a pre-built, ready-made copy of your page, so the server doesn't even have to think. It's basically instant delivery.
Okay, So we've delivered a complete page, and we've done it super fast. The final piece of the puzzle is making sure the page's blueprints, the HTML code itself, are clean, logical, and just plain easy for the Googlebot to read.
Think of your HTML as the grammar of your web page. If that grammar is messy, with broken tags or a confusing structure, the Googlebot gets confused. It might not understand your content hierarchy or could miss important stuff altogether. Clean code is the bedrock for everything else.
You'd be surprised how simple these rules are, but also how often they get broken. Every single page has to declare itself as modern HTML with a doc type. It needs one, and only one, head section for things like your page title. And just as important, it needs one, and only one, body section for your main content. These aren't just suggestions, they are non-negotiable rules for a healthy website.
And one last, really crucial tip here. Be super careful about hiding content from users with code like display none. Now, it's fine for little interface elements, but if you're hiding important text or links that you actually want to rank for, Google might devalue it or even just ignore it completely. The rule of thumb is, if it's important for SEO, it's gotta be visible. So when you boil it all down, this whole journey comes down to one simple takeaway. Your number one goal in technical SEO is to make the Googlebot's job as simple, as fast, and as clear as you possibly can. Don't make it guess, don't make it wait, and please don't make it try to piece together a broken puzzle. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. Take a minute to look at your own website through this new lens. Are you handing Google a clean, complete, and lightning-fast blueprint, or are you, without even realizing it, building an obstacle course? The answer to that question could be the key to unlocking your site's true potential. Thanks for joining me.